On average, the black dollar circulates for about 6 hours in the black community. We need to do better as a community to support black-owned businesses, but that's sometimes easier said than done. Before we can support black-owned businesses, we need a readily available economic search engine to be able to find those black businesses to support in our communities. The Essential Black Business app is the answer to that question. The EVA is always on the community side, meeting the community's needs with easy access.
You know, I've seen these two videos actually on TikTok, you know, about one sister that's actually in Japan and another, you know, young girl that's going to talk about, you know, what happens with black people in Japan. I think that's quite interesting, but let's just have a quick conversation about that. But let's roll those videos.
Would I recommend living in Japan? No. Why, you say? Japan is really for people who are mentally, physically, and emotionally stable. A lot of us college students who are studying abroad there are not. And it's also really hard to find an apartment unless you are using a Japanese guarantor company, and it's also hard to find a job, as well as learn the language to its fullest extent. Because sometimes people don't want to converse with you if you look foreign, because they're like, does she know Japanese? Nihongo shabereru. Of course I do. I'm a Japanese major. However, that's beside the point. If you're looking for a safe country, Japan is one of those countries. The food is also good. Transportation is very reliable, but you have to be prepared to be discriminated against. Especially if you're black, but you know. Although I said I wouldn't recommend it, I made a lot of great friends living in Japan and through TikTok and everything, so I would not change it for the world ever.
Compliments you get in Japan that you don't get other places.
Okay, this only happens if you're white. This is what realistically would happen if you are on the browner side. Ah, basketball選手みたい. I'm 5'1". いいなぁ。日焼けサロン行かなくて平気だよね。What you think, dickhead? Yo, 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 hip hop できるのかyo. I actually listen to K-pop and J-pop. 黒人なのに優しいね。なんて言うんだろう。すごい強いイメージがあるからな。どういう意味でそれ言ってるの?
Okay, so you heard both of them. They both said that if you are black in Japan, you're going to be stereotyped and discriminated against. And then you heard the first sister talk about with the apartments and say foreigners get last dibs. Because, you know, in some countries, if you're a quote unquote foreigner, like they don't treat you too well. See, America treated everybody the same. Actually, foreigners in this country actually get more than the citizens. It's like the other way around. You know what I'm saying? But the question I have for some people, you know, and maybe, like I said, the one girl said she's a Japanese major, you know, but the other one looked like either she was probably, you know, have a parent there or something like that. But my issue is this, and I've said this before, and I've seen other people talk about, you know, discrimination in European nations and things like that. I said that I am not going to leave America and go live somewhere and be discriminated against. I'm not doing it. Why would I do that? At least in America, I know what my rights are. I know what I can do about it. You know, I know the limits. In other countries, if they discriminate against you, you don't have the protections that you have here in America. You don't even have the community that you have here in America. So if I'm going to deal with some discrimination, I'll just stay right here in the United States and I won't go nowhere. The purpose of moving around and going to other places for me is to get away from the discrimination, to get away from that racism on a daily basis. I know there's other forms of discrimination like class and, you know, all that sort of thing. I understand that. But to get away from racism, you know, and I understand every time I go to an African nation, I don't feel no racism at all. I don't even feel like to say, well, I'm black. I have to be focusing on black all the time. I just feel like, hey, I'm just a person. Or, you know, black people are the majority. And that's just not really something I need to be thinking about. But if it's not an issue like that, like, I'm going to stay here. Bottom line, you know, now there's videos I've seen where black people do live there. That's a reoccurring theme that, you know, they you know, ask stereotypical questions or discriminated against. But it's quite interesting that people that actually live there and deal with that. I just don't know. Maybe it's just me, ladies and gentlemen. But like I said, you know, I'm a firm believer, you know, stick with the devil, you know. and not the devil you don't know, because you just never know what may go down. But I'm not saying that everywhere you go, someone's going to treat you that way. I'm not saying that, because also I have to say that women are treated one way and men are treated another way sometimes too. And that is a reality. Because, for instance, men's, experience in Brazil will be different than, let's say, a black woman from the U.S.'s experience in Brazil. Because, I've seen one sister talk about in Brazil, which Brazil has a lot of black people. I mean, really, black people are the majority in Brazil. They just don't run the country. But I heard that's things, if they push it more politically and trying to make changes where black people can run the country, because black people should be running Brazil completely. They're the majority. But some people have, accused black American women and assuming that they are, women of the night. Let me use that word. And they weren't. They was actually staying in the hotel because they assumed they were Brazilian. That's what they thought until they opened their mouth. But still, it's things like that go on sometime in other countries as well. So when you travel, it's your experiences is going to be different. You understand what I'm saying? Japan, would I ever visit Japan? I wouldn't mind seeing Tokyo. I've always said I wanted to see Tokyo. But if I travel to a place like that, of course I'm traveling with my team, and I'm going to look for where's the black people in Japan. That's kind of like how I want to do it. Everywhere I go, I want to say, hey, where's the brothers and sisters at? How they live? Because black people are everywhere. They're indigenous to every country on the planet Earth. They speak every language on the planet Earth. So where is the people? And I think that'll be cool. Like I said, to go, like for instance, let's say we was to go to Japan and go out there and find the Afro-Japanese. Find them and see how their life is and things like that, because not too many people are trying to find what black people have throughout the world. So, but for me, if I'm going to live somewhere, it's going to be a black nation. Just like I said, I am not about to leave America and go deal with the exact same thing, or possibly could be worse somewhere else. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. And maybe some of you, have you been to Japan? And what's your experiences? Hey family, make sure you join us on the new and improved AfricanDiasporaNews.org. Now, it is our uncensored and raw truth website. We have to make sure to have our own website because on social media platforms, they do have rules, and at any time they could change a rule and shut a whole genre down. Now, that would not happen to us because on AfricanDiasporaNews.org, we can speak the truth. We don't have to hold back. So make sure you join our website today.